Acolytes. Boo. Republican senator wants to arrest if you watch anime with new law. And that's presumably in Texas. I just heard this title, or let's just say it, an acolyte actually shared it with me. And this is, if this is true, this is extremely disgusting. But I also have to know the details about it because honestly, why? It's of course Goblin Slayer and Democrats blow. I mean, for F's sake, if the Karen party does something positive, you know somebody fucked up gigantically. If the Karen party is wiser than you fucked up. Let's just see. And here.
About 2 months ago, there was a bill trying to get passed the United States court system that theoretically could get everybody that watches anime labeled as a felon, aka you'd be thrown in prison, jail, whatever, fined, just for the sheer act of watching an episode of Goblin Slayer.
I don't think it's automatically jail, but if you're marked as a felon, for my understanding is that you basically are a annoyance to other people. So yeah, it's still not good, by the way. Way too harsh for watching anime.
Obviously, this was met with a lot of criticism. A lot of people were upset about it. A lot of people were talking about big YouTube content creators, big Twitch streamers. Everybody was talking about the situation for a very good reason. And so you fast forward to a few days ago, apparently that bill that was causing a lot of ruckus was completely shut down in the court system of Texas, so you no longer have to worry about that. However, following this, a few days later, there was an announcement that a Republican senator has introduced a bill to define obscenity, and it may pose risk to video games and anime. This information, this source directly comes from this bill that is trying to be passed right now. It's an introduction of it. You can see it right here. I'll actually even link this in the description if you want to read it for yourself. But the point of the matter is that we have a senator that is once again trying to do the exact same thing as what we saw in Texas. If there's anything you could take away from this so far with this information, it's the fact that both sides of the political spectrum are not your friends. They will censor you. They will completely try to silence you if given any form of position of power. And in this case, that is obviously what is happening here. And I just want to outline this, that it is absolutely crazy that we are in 2025 and we are still trying to censor stuff like anime and video games because apparently it could cause violence, it could cause people to do things that, you know, it would hurt other people. It's like, no, separate fiction from reality. It's absolutely insane that you have these old fogies that are in positions of power able to do stuff like this. It's just crazy. It's just rampant censorship. And honestly, I'm just going to be completely blunt with you. This is not going to pass. It's not. It's going to probably run into the same direction as this bill that obviously got shut down. But it does not change the fact that one day you throw enough arrows at the dartboard, eventually you're going to, land. It's going to land a bullseye. And one of these times, the bill might eventually get passed, which could theoretically damage video games, anime, and just fiction in general, just to be able to, you know, express yourself with freedom of expression, with writing, etc. You know, one of these days, one of these bills will pass, which is...
And that's the fear that I have. But the thing is, we right now are in a time where literally this is better than the previous thing. That's sad. And yes, the people that just, well, do what they are doing stuff, just stop supporting them for F's sake. Why is it, I mean, Texas. If I recall correctly, Texas has a problem with Inzucht. Yeah, with inbreeding. But that's only if I recall correctly. Maybe it was a few years ago, but for F's sake, if this is true, how the fuck can people like that actually decide things like that? I mean, irrelevant. Okay.
Why it's incredibly important to talk about this and call stuff like this out, because obviously this will affect, you know, culture itself. This will affect anime, manga, video games, entertainment. And just because this is in, let's say, the United States, doesn't necessarily mean that this won't have a global effect and a systematic domino effect if it is allowed to happen. But obviously, I'm getting a little bit off topic. The point of the matter is that this bill that is being introduced into, the court system to try to be passed as a law is more or less trying to define obscenity. And for those that don't know what obscenity really is, it can be a label for a lot of different things, but one of the easiest ones is actually from this image right here of Shimonetta. This image, theoretically, depending on how a law of obscenity is labeled, if this bill does theoretically pass, you could probably go to jail, maybe have fines, get a felony just for watching Shimonetta. That is the point of the matter. And it's crazy just how Shimonetta as an anime really told the future. It's crazy that it was not just a comedy anime about fan service and this like 1984 status type stuff, like this dystopian future. It was a warning. And it's just like, I doubt the writer, when they wrote that series and when it was animated, ever had any intention of that to happen. But it's clear as time continues to march forward, as we continue to see just the overall ramifications and the changes within culture itself, not just anime and manga, but just the entertainment industry, we have definitely seen a massive uptick of like anti-fan service, games that might be deemed problematic. You have stuff just being completely censored. We have seen this obviously in the gaming industry, and there has definitely been a lot of blowback, a lot of pushback in those industries, but obviously the anime and manga community is experiencing something in a very similar way, a smaller scale, but it definitely is happening.
Fair enough.
Anyone that says it is not happening has definitely been living under a rock, or they purposely are remaining blind to the situation. The point of the matter is that I think seeing this type of stuff and seeing how Shimonetta really was a warning to all this really blows me away. I never would have thought when I first watched this years ago, I think it's been almost a decade since it came out, that it would actually foreshadow what is happening in 2025. Anyways, back into the main point.
The thing is, it happens a lot. If you have enough animes, manga, series, films, something will predict the future in a way. So there's that. I don't think that this is something special. But basically, yes, we are going in a direction that I do not like. Because we're going again to the prude religious direction where everything's bad that has to do with the human body, and we are supposed to go and kneel before God because we are all sinners, and that bullshit is just so bollocks. I don't care if you're religious, good for you, but don't force your beliefs upon me. That's exactly the same thing that the fucking left is doing. It just has a different color, so there's that. But sadly, step for step, it's happening, slowly but surely. And the only gods that exist am I and the three other ones. So, let's just...
point of this discussion, this bill I personally don't believe is going to go anywhere. However, it is very important to reinstate this again in this video. When you throw enough darts or random objects at the board, one day those objects will stick. They will stick one day. If there is not conversation around it, if people are not aware of it, that is the whole point of it. These politicians, these senators within power on the Republican side or Democratic side or any other form of country will do anything they can to be able to censor you, control the narrative, and do what they can to remain in power. That's what a lot of people like to do. Power corrupts, in my personal opinion. Feel free to, disagree with that. But what I'm trying to make or talk about when it comes to this situation is that, the obscenity, I don't think this law here will pass. I don't think there's any intention to freak out about it. However, it's very important to be vocal about it. It's very important to be aware of this, and it's very important to speak out about this.
Yes,
if you're anyone that loves entertainment, anime, or manga, you definitely should be instantly against this, because this will harm your hobbies. This will harm your interest. And imagine being labeled a felon, or you need to be jailed or whatever, just because you watch an episode of, like, One Piece, for instance. Like, what? Like, yeah, I want to point this one out. Last time this situation happened, like, this one with the whole Goblin Slayer stuff and all that, don't mind this page, actually, this is irrelevant. Anyways, when this happened with Goblin Slayer, basically, I saw a lot of shonen fans, like the Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach fans, very happy about this bill, saying, yeah, your slop, your ecchi fan service slop or whatever is going to be, banned permanently and censored. Yeah. They were jumping for joy, but I'm like, do you guys not realize the very bill and how vague it was would affect you? Like,
they didn't. Stupid fucks will be stupid fucks. It is what it is. They should be just ignored. And the thing is, if they were happy about this, then I just hope their things get banned, and then we can just stand there and be like, yep. See, that's why it's bad. Now it hit you. Because otherwise, stupid fucks like that just won't understand. Until they don't burn themselves, they won't understand for some reason. Every normal thinking human being, even a half-brained zombie, will know if somebody is hitting you, is hitting somebody else that's in the same, let's just say, circle, and you don't like it, the probability that it hits you is pretty high. So you should think about it very carefully before you actually spouse shit like that.
Because it's like, you're not telling me if you watch One Piece you haven't seen, like, for instance, the stuff that happens with Nami. It's like, that would be classified under the bill. Bleach is the same way with Orihime. Yeah, it's like Naruto has had many things with its female characters. Hinata is a good example. We've had the sexy jitsu in Naruto. You would straight up also get a felony for even reading or watching those series. So it's crazy seeing how people will be completely fine with censorship if they think that it will hurt the people they dislike, and not understand that if they allow that to flourish and grow, it's going to affect them as well. It really irks me. But anyways, I want to talk about the situation because obviously it's an update to the, the whole bill that was trying to be passed in Texas, but also a reintroduction of something very similar that is trying to define obscenity. So I'll leave it at that. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below.
Yeah, it's just... Why the F? Just... For F's sake, this is just disgusting. The next step that just tries the same thing with a freaking primitive tactic that actually works, by the way. I'm not saying that it doesn't work, because it works. It's just... I just despise it. I just totally despise that we are in a time that this is actually seen as normal. It's something to cheer up. But at the end of the day, it's... Okay, it is what it is, Acolytes. I'm just a bit freaking disturbed because this is doing again the same effing thing repeated again and again and again. It's just... Okay. It's... For today, or for now, good night.